fighting it with me. All right, should I take one? Should I take two pills? But anyway, I took them and I managed to get to sleep. And I got up early and worked out and had a good breakfast and got over to the studio. And, everything went fine. Friday, I mean, man, we blazed right through, did great. So it was all good. I never even mentioned it to Dan that I thought that was a little bit, I didn't, it was okay. It smoothed over. Although, that seed is buried in there somewhere, right?
Sure.
The seed is still in your soul. It's like,
Sure,
why didn't
sure.
you make sure I got there, man?
Right.
Shit.
So you were trying to write it off as shit happens, and
You're
let's
right.
let's go do what we got to do. I got you.
Yes, let's get our shit done. And we did, man. Friday was beautiful. It was so good, man. That, after the first day, we went to a nice Chinese restaurant, had a great time there. I wish I could think of the name of it. It caters to the boys. It's got hundreds of the boys' pictures autographed on the walls, and it's a nice ass place. Hoolan's. I ain't gonna try it. But anyway, that was Friday night. And like I said, again, I was so lucky. There was a nice gym right there at the hotel, and I had that worked out in the gym since the first surgery, 7 months, so 6.5 months. So I was so happy to get in, do my little rehab stuff, and then do some weight workout. And then second day, again, a good ass workout. Got my meal, got back over to the studio, and you can see for the people that might be crossovers for each, and they watch Boston Wrestling on the YouTube, you'll see in about it was the third hour episode that we were doing for Saturday. I mean, we were breezing. So that would be 5, 6, 7 on week 8. You'll see. You can see a change because I'm always like happy and bubbly and love doing our things. That third hour, I started getting quiet because I started getting pain in my ankles or whatever. I may have pushed the workouts. That's the only thing I figure. I pushed them maybe a little too hard, which is something my doctor was concerned I would do. He said, because we know each other, we played football together, and he knows my work ethic with sports from high school and college.
Okay.
So he's like, I know how hard you're going to do. Don't overdo it. And there's a possibility I did. But I mean, everything was fine as far as, Dan and I are fine. That mid-third hour, I started having the pains, and it was I didn't want to, we're filming, right? I don't want to but I'm reaching down. Y'all will see, like I said, I'm reaching down and I'm, massaging the ankles. I'm realizing, but don't, make it obvious. And then we got halfway through that third hour, and they got they burn. I mean, they feel like they're in a furnace, burning. And again, I didn't want to touch the pain pills yet because I want to make sure I can get through that whole weekend. And Dan was talking about it. We always reviewed it. We were in the 90s, and some of the guys, what did I think of this? Whatever, And he's talking away, and I'm sitting there like, don't make a face, don't, because pain was showing my face a lot, and I'm thinking about how's it looking, and I'm like, oh shit, I don't know what he's talking about. Oh man, I hope he don't ask me a question.
You got that absorbed in your own pain. I got you.
Yes.
Go on.
Yeah, and so I look over at him. He looks at me, and I thought, oh shit, don't ask a question. But he goes, are you okay? And so it must have already started showing on my face. I'm like, and I didn't want to say much, but I'm like, yeah, I'm struggling a little bit, just a little bit, trying to play it off like it ain't bad. But it was hard to get through that last 20, 30 minutes. And when we got through with it, that was our third hour, right? I told him, I said, man, look, I got a blanked on you. I'm so glad you didn't ask me a question right then. I said, if it's going to happen again, I'm going to do the Iron Sheik. I'll chop my chest. That's letting you know I'm starting to blank. Don't ask me something right then. And he's like, okay. And we got into the fourth hour, and sure enough, it started happening. I'm like, fuck, I caught myself on him. And he's looking at me like weird. And I'm like, he goes, what are you doing? And I guess he totally, so he was so absorbed in getting our material done. And I said, remember what I told you this is going to mean? And he said, oh, I forgot. And, you know, we got through the 4th hour. I was like, what happened? You were fine when you talked to me. You were just down about something. And I called her. After that, it didn't work. And I called a girl that I know from Boston, told her, you know, I needed company. I didn't need to be alone. And she showed up 20, 30 minutes later. And again, remember now, the intent was to get up in the morning and go to the gym. That was my main thing. So to rehab, you know, the shit and get a workout. When she got to the door and opened the door to see her, just, you know, not some people will understand, but and I remember seeing her there with a bag, like overnight. I figured overnight bag. I don't know what else she might have had in it. And you know, I smiled to see her, but it must have shown on my face because she's, are you okay? And I was like, no. And she hugged me, and it felt so good. It was not meaning sexual or nothing like that. It just felt like she was really hugging out of compassion. And pretty much the next memory I got is going to the studio Sunday and Dan not letting me in. And I couldn't understand it. Now, remember, this is my memory. It's not what actually happened according to Dan, and I believe him. But when I got there, he had, I couldn't even tell you if the girl stayed over or not. I mean, I called her and found out later, but I had no idea. I just knew that he had a guy pick me up. I was getting out of the car with it. I kept calling him Eric Clapton. Because you know that song where Eric saying, would you know my name?
Sure.
If you saw me in heaven. It was how his hair was, and all this guy's hair was exactly like that. So I kept calling him Eric Clapton. He's a great guy too, love him to death. I got out of the car, went up to the studio, you know, see through doors, and there's Dan, and he won't let me in. And I didn't understand it. What the hell? And I'm like, Dan, what are you doing? Because we got work to do, right? I'm telling you, this is me, and I was confused as hell. And again, I don't remember if he told Eric Clapton to drive me around for a while, or called him and told him. But he just wouldn't let us in. He cracked the door a little bit, and I wanted to get in. He said, no, go right around for a little bit or something. I was confused as fuck. I was like, what the hell? And we got in the car and rode around for a bit, and, you know, I'm talking to this guy, and I couldn't even cut up with him too much because I'm like thinking, what's going on here? And it crossed my mind at that time, okay, wait a minute. He gave me half my money up front the first day, and he's going to give me the second half after we were done. I'm thinking, is he trying to get out of paying me the second half? That was what was going through my mind.
Okay.
And boy, it started. Then everything. Now all them seats before. Okay, that Thursday night was shit. He didn't care to pick me up, you know. But Friday went well. And Saturday, he wanted to overwork me while I was hurt. You know, my mind starts perpetuating and getting worse. You know, on man, what the fuck? It was going to a bad place. I don't know how long. We went back to the studio, and I guess we did a couple episodes, which Dan, and I'm going to believe Dan because I'm telling y'all that I don't remember what happened with that girl so I've got that big blank. So something obviously was off with me. Dan would have a better, recollection of how things actually happened. And in hearing him, in that review you were talking about,
yeah,
he had said, Marty showed up and he was just so out of it. I don't know what the hell he did Saturday night, but he couldn't do nothing but make everybody mad in the studio, and had somebody get him out. So I don't actually know because I remember Eric Clapton picking me up from me riding from the hotel. So I don't know if he sent me back to the hotel to sober up, if that's what he was saying. He'll go sober up. And then that was the second time we came to the studio, and I just don't remember none of that whole first. But anyway, that caused me to be in that place where this is bullshit. And I figured, you know what, we got the live show tonight, and I can't really be that mean. I love Dan to death, and I knew I couldn't be mean to him, but I needed to be if I was getting ripped off. And
Understood.
I right before the Hell in a Cell, I still had. Remember, I bought that half pint, and I had half of that left. So it's nothing but a couple shots. But I had taken that, took a couple of pain pills, and thought, oh, now I'm gonna cut loose on the live because he can't edit shit out when I ask him questions. And for those that saw it, it was a disaster. And I was ugly to Dan. I shouldn't have been. I kept telling him he wasn't gonna pay me. He's never shorted me. He's never even come close to it. He's never shorted anybody in like whatever 19 years. But that's just where my head had gone with all that shit that I'd gone through. And, I'm sure that he kind of bothered him being called, just basically saying, are you a thief, on live TV. At one point, I think he flipped the money over to me. And I'm like, all right, so what? And what about this and what about that? I think I started bringing up them little damn things, needling them on it. And he was needling me back and getting back because he didn't appreciate the money thing. One time I said, well, where's my damn money then? It was still laying there. He'd already gave it to me. But yeah, that was a bad thing, and I just contributed to. I had a bad day at the office, and I still don't understand what happened from that Saturday night. I asked that girl. I'm not going to say her name. A lot of people might know her. She had a pill that she gave me the night before. She said hers was for a nerve pain. She said it'll help you. You won't have to. She said, I gave you one of those. That was it. And I guess she said she had a shot, a Jack Daniels shot or something. And she goes, but that doesn't bother you because she knows, my partying ways too. That didn't bother you, but she goes, you kept just mumbling. You called me 3 different girls. You called me Kara one time. You called me a Tania one time. She was telling me these names I was calling her. So I guess I was out of it. And
Marty, despite the fact that your memory of the actual Sunday was hazy, you have to at least be disappointed that working with this guy for quite a while, how did he not sense that your pain threshold was going to go into overdrive? Why did he keep pushing you?
Okay, now that I've told y'all everything, came straight with everything the whole world knows now, I'll answer that, but you got to answer me one thing first. And I've been real, so be real with me.
Sure. All right.
And I understand, so it doesn't matter what the answer, but just be honest with me. Mm-hmm. Why would y'all want to show a hit piece on me? You heard how bad it was. Why y'all are my boys? I thought I was y'all.
No. I wasn't going to show a hit piece. I wanted to see the video. I asked him to see the video. I wasn't going to show you on there. That wasn't. I wanted to know what happened. Listen, you've been a friend of the show. You're a good guy. And I wasn't watching the show. People had told me what happened. I tried to go back on to see what happened. I wanted to see if you were okay.
Curious.
And you know what? So we're being 100% honest with you. I wasn't going to go put this on the show. I wanted to see what happened. And then I was even more disturbed that he went to social media and basically said that you've got major problems. And I didn't think that was right to do either. And again,
but we're into 5. We're getting ready to do 5.
Right.
It took enough of the edge off, but it didn't take it all. I knew it wouldn't, but that's fine. I just wanted to get some off.
Okay.
And the reason I'm telling all this shit, it'll make sense in a minute.
Sure.
So we got through 5, and I was like, now there's a break, because we were doing the virtual signing live later. Okay. To give me a 2-3 hour break to just relax and stay at the studio, but go lay somewhere and just relax and hope that everything passes. He was like our studio guy in charge, in the room, hollering something. I'm looking at him like, what are you talking about? He goes, let's keep going. I said, do you know what number this is? Because I knew exactly what number. And he goes, well, I don't keep up with it. I'm thinking, well, I do. That's how we judge what we pay. And I thought, well, he knows I'm hurting. Why would he push it today? Because I figured, okay, maybe we're just going to do 4 tomorrow. But I was just thinking that's kind of shitty a little bit, because I'm hurting.
Right.
But we did it, got through it, but then it didn't leave us much time before the live, so no rest in between. Went right in and did that, and usually on them live virtual signings, as was the case Friday night when we did them, I cut up with the fans. I love to. I mean, I don't even care what kind of crazy questions I got. I'll take them.
Sure.
If we have fun with it,
Yeah.
And couldn't do it that night. I mean, it was hurting that bad, and I hated not cutting up with them and just probably looking like I was bored. I wasn't bored at all. I just wasn't feeling good.
Right.
And it had not. I'm pretty sure it was those workouts in the gym, because it had not been hurting me like that for a while.
Well, Marty, I don't think it helped you to have to walk in the airport either. I don't think that.
That first night. I mean, no, I'm sure it didn't.
No, I don't
like
think
I
it
said,
did.
what it is little bitty things that accumulated. I'm not saying Danny did anything wrong. He's very aware of my pain, because he's got a bad pain too, and he's got whatever it's CDRS or some kind of thing that from the car wreck with the Sheik. He's one of his legs is real bad. He has to take a lot of medicine, and his pains. He told me the other day, he was telling me how it'll get so bad. He was having one of his days a few days ago. It's so bad, he goes, that he's glad he doesn't have a gun with him, because it hurts that bad. And I clicked with him on that, because I know that feeling, bro. As I thought that same ass thing, like, fuck this. I can't get any, and I couldn't get the liquor will always kick it, for a little bit.
Marty.
But you got to be careful, because with me, too much of it brings out an evil MJ.
So listen, Marty, here's the question for you. So everything seems very, the whole story seems docile. Of course, I wasn't watching, right? People were writing me after the fact. Here's my issue, and I want to understand something. It seems like you and Dan are on better terms. But
we're great, man.
But here lies the problem. After this whole situation goes on, he goes on Sunday to talk about your multitude of problems and that you need help. It was. I think it was a week after, or a couple.
Yeah,
of the people could tell.
Review.
Again, if you're working with someone and you have a falling out or whatever else, I'm assuming it wasn't a work.
Well, I'll pull it all together if I can try to do it like in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Saturday night, I even kept telling them this. I mean, we were doing 8x10s signings, stuff. Wasn't going good anyway. And, we got to do the same thing tomorrow night. Hell in a Cell. Just do it then. I'm like, wrap it up. And he says like 3 different times, okay, last chance. We're about to wrap it up. Shit. I'm like, quit telling them that. Let's go. But finally it was over.
We consider ourselves a broadcast, not a podcast. But I would say that many of the shows are all friends in commerce, but we hear things that go on. And Tony Atlas, who contacted me after he was on Dan's show and wanted to speak to me about some things that went down with Dan and him, and actually asked me for advice on it, which I did. Tony decided to part ways with Dan. Again, some people believe Tony, some don't. With you, can you tell us what happened at the start of that Boston Wrestling thing and what led to whatever happened? Because again, I asked Dan for the video, but he wouldn't give it to me. Can you tell us what happened?
I'll give you the whole weekend. I'll just explain to you that it's going to take about 5-10 minutes.
That's fine.
Go.
When's our next break? 5 minutes?
Yeah, about 5 or 8 minutes. Go ahead.
All right, I'll try to get to a good part by then. We go in Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and we do 5 episodes Friday, Saturday, so 5 a day. Come in usually the night before, pretty much always the night before, and leave that Monday morning. That's been our routine for about a year.
Okay.
And it's loved it. The second surgery I had now 2 times ago, which would have been, I don't know, about 10-12 weeks ago, came in and did great. It was the left leg surgery was just about healed up. Everything was good, and got through most of that pretty good. Then this past time when I come in, I had just had the right ankle about 2 months prior, surgery on it, a joint replacement. Anyway, so I'm just getting past it, all the pain and stuff.
Right.
And thinking, feeling pretty good, because there's my doctor who's one of the best in the world, Dr. McCluskey, Leland McCluskey, here in Columbus, Georgia. He's like, you're so far ahead of schedule, it's unbelievable. He said, I knew you would rehab it fast, but I've never seen one heal this fast. But we were very positive on it, and I was looking forward to start training hard, get myself back in shape. Don't know about if I was going to get in the ring or not, but at least I could, do some good things. And Thursday night kind of set a tone a little bit. And what I mean by that is I got in late. Dan did good. He got me to the latest flight he could because, I don't want to spend a whole day not working. But I got in there. I don't know how he did it. He got me the one that got in at 1 o'clock at night, up there in Boston. And it just, I'd already had 7 hours of traveling by then. Because I have to drive a couple hours to get to a shuttle service in Columbus, Georgia, to go 2 more hours. No, I'm sorry, an hour to get to it. To go 2 more hours to Atlanta Airport, which got to be there an hour and a half early. Then a 2.5 hour flight up to Boston. I had 7 hours of transit already. Okay. By the time I got there.
Okay.
At 1 in the morning. And, Dan is, for the whole year that I've been working with him, he's always there to pick me up with somebody. Wasn't there, but he called me and he goes, go to, there was a hotel would be there with a shuttle service, which was fine with me. And he told me where it was at over by the limos. Now I got this boot still on my right leg, the one that's still, it ain't 100% yet. And there's a little bit of a walk, and I got there and I waited and looked around and waited and looked around and waited. Finally, I called him back. I said, brother, there ain't nothing here. And he goes, are you in the right place? I said, I'm right where you told me. And so I wouldn't ask one of the limo guys. There was one guy there. Now it's like 1:30, almost 2 in the morning. One limo guy there, and he goes, yeah, right here's for the hotel. I called him back, said I'm in the right place. He called again, and then he called me. He said, call this number. This is the hotel. They'll tell them what's going on. I called them, and they said, shuttle's not there because we stop at 11 p.m. We told your guy that.
Ooh.
So, this is a hell of a time, and to be going through all this at the airport and somewhere in Boston. I called Dan back, and he said, F it, I'll get you an Uber. And he says, find where the Ubers. And I did. I went up to the limo guy, said, where are the Ubers? He pointed, you got to go over there. And it was like a damn quarter-mile walk. And I'm like, nah, hell no. I got one crutch and one boot on. I ain't walking that damn far. You can't even see how far I had to walk. Boston Airport. Oh, no, man, you ran me in the ground yesterday when you knew I was hurt. Oh, no, man, you just don't want to pay me my other half. All that shit festered out. That's all it was. Because none of it true. Well, the first 2 things were true, but Dan wasn't trying to do that. It's just things happen. Shit happens. Like y'all said, shit happens on the road.
Listen, you said it. It's a bad day in the office. All is forgiven. I'm glad you guys made up. We look forward to seeing you on the Marty party. And I got to tell you, Marty, you sound great tonight. I'm so glad the way you sound, and I want to thank you again.
Be good. That was something I was telling Dan. He's like, I'm going to set you up to help you out. I want you to get rehab. Rehab ain't going to do shit for me. Look, man, rehabs I've been to. I've been to high-up ministers. Preachers. I've gone to friends. I've confided in friends that had the same issues. But I won't say Jake Roberts or Scott Hall's name, but I've gone to guys that had a problem like mine.
Yeah, well.
Hey, Marty.
And nothing is going to work until I can do it for myself. Rehabs are damn work, first of all. They might work for 9 to 5 type of personalities. A 9 to 5er, not putting them down, but does not live the lifestyle and have the personality of a wrestler.
Not even close. Not even close. Yeah, I totally get it.
So the rehabs, all that is a PR stunt. Like, hey, he's trying. Hey, shit,
Marty, if I can get this in real fast, just coming from my point of view, dude, we would never put a hit piece out on you. And besides, as far as this relationship between us and you goes, the only one who's ever done any hitting is you.
No, that's true.
So there you go.
Okay.
Ow! Ow!
You got me on that one.